Hello and welcome to another edition of Only in Illinois, your weekly video recap from Reboot Illinois. I'm Matt Dietrich, and today I'm at the Illinois State Fair because this week in Illinois politics, this is where the action was. It started on Wednesday when Governor Bruce Rauner became the first Republican since 2002 to host a Governor's Day at the Illinois State Fair. Rauner used the chance to take lots of shots at his political nemesis, House Speaker Michael Madigan. On Thursday, the Democrats had their chance to fire back on Democrat Day at the State Fair. Let's take a look at what each side had to say. Governor Bruce Rauner made what has become a traditional grand State Fair entrance on his Harley-Davidson. During a brief meeting with reporters, he had sharp words for Madigan.
Speaker Madigan, you know what? He's got ice water in his veins. He's standing his ground. He's refused to vote on a single one of our reforms. I hope the folks over there who I care deeply about are protesting with Speaker Madigan and President Cullerton today.
Once on stage, Rauner had a wildly enthusiastic audience and used his speech to both reinforce his core Republican values and again to pillory Madigan.
Our Republican values are the values that make America the greatest nation in the history of the world. Freedom, opportunity, growth. That's what it's about. That's what the prosperity comes from. We believe in limited government, low taxes, individual liberty, and personal responsibility. That is what makes America great.
You know what? Speaker Madigan, you know what? I was elected by millions of people. He's been elected by 17,000 people. Why is he there blocking what we need to do to reform and improve our great state of Illinois? They've created a mess from one-party rule, from King Madigan and the Chicago political machine. And you know what? The Republican Party is strong. We're coming back. We're going to become a two-party state again and restore the principles that make Illinois great.
The next day, Madigan used the Democrats' annual County Chairman's Day to offer a brief but sharp reply to Rauner.
The Democrats in the legislature today are engaged in an epic struggle with a Republican governor. Illinois has a Republican governor who thinks that the Illinois budget making should be used and leveraged to bring down the wage rates all across the state and to bring down the standard of living for middle-class families. We have a Republican governor who talks about changes in collective bargaining, talks about changes in workers' compensation, talks about changes in the prevailing wage. But when you take those proposals and you translate them and you understand what they really mean, they would constitute a reduction in the wage rate and the standard of living all across Illinois. To the credit of every Democrat in the legislature, in the House and in the Senate, led by Senator Cullerton, Democrats have stood united. And when workers get injured, we will not agree to send an injured worker on the welfare rolls or to the emergency room. We're not going to agree to that.
Those exchanges are nothing new in Springfield. Ever since Rauner took office, the deep philosophical differences between him and the Democrats who control more than 3/5 of the General Assembly have been on vivid display. They're at the root of the standoff that has left Illinois government operating without a budget for nearly 2 months. But there also was a new development that represented the Democrats' strongest pushback against Rauner's anti-union agenda yet. The state's contract with AFSCME Council 31, which represents about 38,000 state employees, expired on June 30th, and Rauner and the union have been trying to hammer out a new agreement. Amid complaints from the union that Rauner was not bargaining in good faith and was trying to force a strike to break the union, Democrats in the General Assembly in May passed a bill that would, in the event of an impasse, prohibit a strike or a lockout of workers, but would put the contract in the hands of an arbitrator. That would take Rauner out of the negotiations. Rauner called it the worst legislation in state history and vetoed it in July. As the Senate prepared for an override vote on Wednesday, Rauner urged senators to let his veto stand.
Today is a test. Today is a test for President Cullerton. Is he controlled by Speaker Madigan, or is he make his own decisions for the benefit of the people of his districts in the Senate? Does he controlled by the Speaker, or is he independent and can make his own decisions? Is the Senate under the thumb of the Speaker or not? That bill, stripping me of my ability to collectively bargain on good faith on behalf of taxpayers, is terrible legislation. I vetoed it. They're going to vote today whether to override my veto, and this is a test. They should not override my veto. The Senate should stand strong with us.
But the Senate disregarded Rauner's advice, and after some spirited debate, nullified Rauner's veto. At Democratic chairman's event before Democrat Day at the fair, Cullerton was blunt in his response to the governor.
The Senate Democrats are open to compromise. We are willing to work with Governor Rauner, but we don't work for Governor Rauner. Okay?
So where does all this leave us? Let's put it this way. There are a lot of ways to give yourself heartburn if you spend 2 days at the Illinois State Fair. But none brings it on faster than 2 deep-fried helpings of Illinois politics. Thanks for watching this special Illinois State Fair edition of Only in Illinois. I'm Matt Dietrich, and I'll be back next week. In the meantime, please check out everything on RebootIllinois.com.
Oh, I see, the mini one. Yeah. That's